Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today we are going to dive deep into one of the most fascinating and exciting parts of coin collecting, the Jefferson nickel series. The Jefferson 5-cent nickel has been around since 1938, and over the years certain dates and mint marks have become extremely rare and valuable. Some of these coins are not just pocket change but treasures worth thousands and in some cases millions of dollars. Today we are going to count down the top 7 most valuable Jefferson nickel coins in history and explore their story, their value, and their current market worth in today's coin collecting world. So if you have some old nickels laying around, make sure you watch this video all the way through because you never know what you might be holding on to. We are diving deep into one of the most collected and fascinating coins of modern American numismatics, the Jefferson nickel, and in particular the 1964 5-cent piece. This coin may seem like an ordinary pocket change coin to many people, but collectors know it carries a rich history, hidden varieties, and a market value that can surprise you depending on condition, rarity, and special minting errors. So let's explore why the 1964 Jefferson nickel stands out, what makes it valuable, and what collectors are paying for it today. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938 when it replaced the Buffalo nickel, which had been in circulation since 1913. The new design was created by artist Felix Schlag, and it features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse or front of the coin, while the reverse shows his Virginia home Monticello. The Jefferson nickel has now been in production for over 80 years, making it the longest-running design on a United States 5-cent coin. When we arrive at 1964, the United States Mint was in a unique position. Coin shortages were hitting the economy hard. People were hoarding coins for their silver content, and to meet demand, the Mint struck an enormous number of Jefferson nickels in 1964. In fact, more than 2.8 billion coins were produced across both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, making it the highest mintage year for any nickel up to that point. Now, because so many were struck, most circulated 1964 Jefferson nickels are common and still worth only face value in worn condition. However, the real excitement comes when you dig deeper into special strikes, high-grade examples, and error varieties. Let us first talk about the basic breakdown. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 1 billion coins with no mint mark, and the Denver Mint produced over 1.7 billion coins marked with a small d on the reverse right of Monticello. The key to value lies in condition, mint state coins with sharp detail, full steps on Monticello, and no major marks are the ones collectors chase. Grading agencies like PCGS and NGC award a full steps designation when the steps of Monticello are fully struck and visible without weakness. This is where prices can soar. A regular 1964 nickel in circulated condition might only be worth 5 to 25 cents, but a certified mint state 65 or better example with full steps can sell for hundreds of dollars, and the finest known examples can even reach into the thousands. An especially important variety to know about is the 1964 proof coin. These were made for collectors only and not released into general circulation. The San Francisco Mint had stopped striking nickels, so the proofs were all made in Philadelphia. The 1964 proof Jefferson nickels have a mirror-like surface, and some can display deep cameo contrast between the frosted design and shiny background. Cameo proofs, especially in high grades, can command strong premiums, sometimes exceeding $100 or even several $100 depending on the quality. Another interesting part of the story is that 1964 was the last year regular proof nickels were struck. Until 1968, because of the coin shortage, the government stopped producing proof sets after 1964, so these became an endpoint for proof collectors until production resumed years later. Collectors also seek out error coins from 1964 because the sheer number minted meant that mistakes happened. You can find off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, and other unusual errors. Each error can significantly increase value, sometimes turning a common nickel into a coin worth hundreds or more. Now let us talk about the market today. As of the current coin market trends, the average circulated 1964 Jefferson nickel remains common and worth only face value, but higher grade uncirculated examples without full steps can sell from $2 to $10 depending on condition. With full steps designation, those same coins jump dramatically in price. A mint state 65 full steps coin can sell from $200 to $400, while a mint state 67 full steps coin is extremely rare and has sold for several $1,000s at auction. The proof versions also continue to attract demand, with high-grade cameo and deep cameo proofs reaching strong prices, often over $100 or more per coin. So what should you look for in your change or collection? First, check the date for 1964, then examine the steps on Monticello. If you can see full sharp steps with no weakness, you may have Something special next. Look for any unusual errors. Doubling on the lettering or the portrait could indicate a valuable variety. And finally, pay attention to condition. Uncirculated coins with original mint luster are always in higher demand. The Jefferson nickel might not have silver like the dimes and quarters of the same era, but the 1964 issue represents a fascinating moment in U.S. coinage history with sky-high mintage, record demand, and a variety of collectible possibilities from proofs to full steps examples to rare mint errors. Whether you are a beginner coin collector or a seasoned numismatist, the 1964 Jefferson nickel deserves a place in your collection. In conclusion, while most 1964 nickels are common and worth only face value, the best preserved examples, proof issues, and error coins can be worth significant money, some reaching hundreds or even thousands of dollars today. So the next time you come across a nickel from 1964, do not just toss it aside. Give it a careful inspection, because it might be more valuable than you think. We are going to take a deep dive into one of the most interesting and collectible modern-era nickels, the 1977 Jefferson 5-cent coin. This coin may look ordinary to many people as it was minted in very large numbers and circulated widely across the United States, but there are important details about its history, condition, rarity, and value that make it a popular coin for collectors and investors alike. The Jefferson nickel has been a cornerstone of American coinage since it was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. The design was created by Felix Schlag, who won a competition to design the new 5-cent piece. His portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, has remained the face of the nickel for decades, while the reverse features Jefferson's home Monticello. Over the years, the design has seen some changes, but the 1977 issue still features the classic version that most Americans recognize. In 1977, the United States Mint struck Jefferson nickels at three different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia mint coins carry no mint mark. The Denver mint coins are marked with a small d on the reverse to the right of Monticello, and the San Francisco mint struck proof coins with an S mint mark. These proof coins were not meant for general circulation but for collectors and special mint sets. When we look at mintages, Philadelphia produced over 297 million nickels. Denver produced over 297 million as well, while San Francisco struck just over 3.25 million proof coins. So the overall production was very high, which is why most circulated 1977 nickels are still worth only face value. However, condition makes all the difference in coin collecting. While most 1977 nickels in worn circulated condition are only worth 5 cents, coins in uncirculated mint state condition can carry a premium. Coins graded MS 65 and higher by grading services like PCGS or NGC become significantly more valuable because fewer survive in such pristine condition with strong strikes, clean surfaces, and good eye appeal. In mint state 65, a 1977 Philadelphia nickel can sell for a few dollars, while at MS 67 examples have been auctioned for well over $500. Similar premiums apply to the Denver mint issues, where in top grade condition some coins have sold for hundreds of dollars because high grade survivors are rare. Proof coins from San Francisco are more affordable, but they are also highly collectible. These coins feature mirror-like fields and frosted details, giving them a striking appearance. A typical proof 1977 nickel might be worth $2 to $5 depending on condition and cameo contrast. However, the rare deep cameo examples in PR 69 or PR 70 can bring much higher prices, sometimes $50 to $100 or more among collectors who want top quality sets. It is also worth noting that errors and varieties add to the value of 1977 Jefferson nickels. Error coins such as off-center strikes, double dies, or coins struck on the wrong planchet can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity and demand. For example, a 1977 nickel struck 10% off-center in uncirculated condition might bring $50 to $100, while a double die obverse or reverse could sell for much more if well defined and verified. The historical significance of this coin lies not only in its connection to Jefferson but also in its role in the 1970s economy. This was a time when inflation was rising and coinage production was high, yet despite huge mintages, collectors still find value in saving the best quality examples of these coins because they are a snapshot of American history and an essential part of a complete Jefferson nickel collection. As of the current market in 2025, circulated 1977 nickels are still only worth face value unless they are errors or high-grade coins. Uncirculated mint state coins can range from $1 to $20 depending on grade, while top population coins in MS 67 and above can sell for several $100s. Proof issues usually sell in the $2 to $10 range, with the highest grade deep cameos selling for more. So while you may not strike it rich by finding a common 1977 nickel in pocket change, there are still valuable examples out there waiting to be discovered. So if you have a jar of nickels at home or you come across change in your daily life, take a closer look at your 1977 Jefferson nickel. You might be holding a coin worth far more than 5 cents, especially if it is in pristine condition or has a rare error. Collectors prize these coins not just for their potential value but for the history they represent. From Thomas Jefferson to Monticello to the American minting traditions that continue today, the Jefferson nickel remains one of the most fascinating coins in U.S. coinage history. We are taking a deep dive into the 1980 Jefferson nickel, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but it holds an important place in numismatic history and in the collections of coin enthusiasts around the world. Let us begin with the basics. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, designed by Felix Schlag. Schlag won a design competition, and his portrait of Jefferson, along with a view of Monticello, Jefferson's home, became an enduring design that has lasted for decades. The coin has gone through minor changes over the years, but the 1980 nickel still carries the familiar design we recognize now. Why is the year 1980 important? For one, it was a period when the Denver Mint was striking coins in large numbers to meet the growing needs of the American economy. The 1980 nickel was produced in the tens of millions, meaning it is not considered a rare coin by mintage numbers alone. However, as with many coins, the real story lies in condition, in striking quality, and in errors that can make an otherwise common coin worth far more than face value. Let us talk about value. In circulated condition, most 1980 nickels are worth only their face value, 5 cents. That means if you find one in your change, it is not going to make you rich right away. But here is where things get interesting. Collectors often pay premiums for coins in uncirculated mint state condition. If you can find a 1980 nickel that has been carefully preserved with no wear, bright luster, and sharp details, then the value begins to rise significantly. Graded coins certified by services such as PCGS or NGC can reach several dollars to even higher amounts depending on the grade. For example, a 1980 nickel graded MS65 can be worth $10 to $20, while those in MS66 or higher can command even more. In fact, some auction records show prices exceeding $100 for exceptionally high grade examples. Though the coin is common, the rarity comes from finding one in pristine, untouched condition. Now let us not forget about errors. Error coins from 1980 can add even more excitement. Collectors are always on the lookout for double dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and other striking mistakes. A dramatic error can transform a 5-cent piece into a coin worth $50, $100, or sometimes even several hundred depending on demand. Each error is unique, and that uniqueness is what drives collectors to pay a premium. So what about the current market value? As of today, the general market for 1980 Jefferson nickels shows that circulated coins remain common and are worth only face value. Uncirculated coins are in demand, especially in high grades, and can range from $5 to $20 for typical mint state examples, with top graded gems reaching over $100. The error market varies widely, with simple errors selling for $10 to $20 and rare dramatic errors fetching significantly more. Collectors who focus on Jefferson nickels often look at the 1980 as a filler coin for a date and mintmark collection, but condition rarity keeps the search exciting. Even though millions were struck, finding one with flawless surfaces, sharp details, and booming luster is always a challenge. That challenge is what keeps the coin community engaged. To sum it all up, the 1980 Jefferson nickel is not a rare coin in the sense of low mintage, but it is a coin that can be valuable in the right condition, or if it has a striking error. Its history as part of the long-running Jefferson nickel series makes it an essential piece for collectors. Its value ranges from 5 cents in everyday circulation all the way up to over $100 for superb mint state or error examples. So the next time you are checking your change, take a closer look at those nickels. You never know when a 1980 Jefferson nickel in excellent condition or with a rare error might turn up and put a lot more than just 5 cents back into your pocket. We are going to dive deep into the story and value of the 1999 Jefferson nickel, a coin that might look ordinary to many people but can actually carry surprising value depending on condition, rarity, and errors. So let us walk through the history, the design, and what collectors are paying for it right now. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and it featured the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse or front of the coin, while The reverse side shows his home Monticello. This design by Felix Schlag remained the standard look for decades, including the year 1999 when the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins. Now, while 1999 might not sound like a particularly old date, it has become an important one for collectors because the late 1990s produced some interesting strikes and conditions that can make even modern nickels valuable. The 1999 P nickel with the Philadelphia Mint mark was struck in large numbers, but like all coins, the real value depends on grade, condition, and whether or not there are errors in circulated condition. The typical 1999 P Jefferson nickel is worth only face value, that means just 5 cents. However, if you pull one out of circulation in high grade with sharp details and no heavy wear, it can already fetch a premium. Uncirculated examples graded by services such as PCGS or NGC often sell for $1 or $2, sometimes more depending on luster and strike, but the real money begins when you look at mint state 67 and higher. These high mint state examples are very scarce. Even though millions were minted, the quality control of mass production means that very few survived without scratches, marks, or dull strikes. One of the highest auction records for a 1999 P Jefferson nickel in mint state 67 full steps is several $100s. Full steps refers to the detail on the steps of Monticello on the reverse side. If all the steps are clearly visible without breaks, it is considered a full steps designation, and that can multiply the value dramatically. Many collectors of Jefferson nickels focus on building full step sets, and the 1999 P in high grade full steps is a key challenge. Now let us talk about error coins, because error nickels from 1999 are some of the most exciting finds for collectors. Some examples include off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. For example, a 1999 P nickel struck on a penny planchet or on a dime planchet can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. These types of minting errors are rare, but they do show up from time to time and are always in demand when they appear at auction. Another factor that influences value is the current market demand for modern nickels. Right now, coin collecting has been seeing a surge, with more people searching pocket change and submitting coins for grading. So while a circulated 1999 P will still spend as 5 cents, the right coin in pristine condition or with an error can bring you serious money. On today's market, auctions have shown strong prices, and online marketplaces like eBay often see graded examples selling anywhere from $10 to several hundred depending on grade and full step status. To give you a quick summary, if you have a 1999 P Jefferson nickel in worn condition, it is worth only 5 cents. If you have one in uncirculated condition, it may bring $1 to $5. A coin graded mint state 66 could be worth around $20 to $50. Mint state 67 jumps to hundreds, and if you have the rare full steps designation or an error coin, the value can soar into the high hundreds or even over 1,000 in rare cases. So next time you come across a 1999 nickel, take a closer look. Check the steps on Monticello, inspect for any mint errors, and if it looks sharp and clean, consider sending it to a grading service, because what appears to be just pocket change might actually be a valuable collector's item. We are diving into the world of modern Jefferson nickels, and we are going to focus entirely on the 2016 Philadelphia Mint Jefferson nickel with the P Mint mark. This is a very common coin that you will find in circulation, but depending on condition and whether or not there are any unique varieties or mint errors, this coin can actually be worth more than just 5 cents. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel, and it has remained in production ever since, making it one of the longest-running coin series in American history. The obverse or front of the coin features the bust of Thomas Jefferson, designed originally by Felix Schlag but updated in 2006 with a more modern forward-facing portrait that continues to be used in 2016. The reverse or back of the coin shows Jefferson's home Monticello, which has been a consistent symbol of the series. Now let's talk about the 2016 P nickel itself. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins. In fact, over 700 million were produced. So in general, most examples you find in your pocket change are only worth face value of 5 cents. However, collectors are always looking for coins in the highest condition possible. That means nickels that come straight from mint rolls or bags without scratches, nicks, or circulation, where in mint state condition, particularly in MS65, MS66 and higher. These coins can start to bring in extra money at auction. For example, in average uncirculated condition, a 2016 P Jefferson nickel might only be worth 10 to 20 cents to a collector, but when you get into gem mint state 66 they can sell for a couple of dollars. If you go one grade higher into MS67, now you are looking at a coin that can sell for anywhere from $20 up to $50 depending on eye appeal and rarity at that grade. The highest grade known so far is MS68, and those examples are extremely tough to find. In fact, one sold at auction for several $100s, proving that even modern coins can bring big money if they are in pristine condition. Now another factor that adds value is errors and varieties. Many collectors specialize in searching for double dies, repunched mint marks, or striking errors on modern nickels. In 2016 there are reports of some die cracks and die chips, especially around Jefferson's eye and in Monticello's steps. While most of these minor die chips might only add a couple of dollars to the value, larger and more dramatic errors such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or full brockage errors can sell for much higher, sometimes $50, $100, or even more depending on how dramatic the mistake is. Another key thing to look for is the condition of the steps on Monticello nickels. With full steps are much more desirable to collectors. Full steps means that all 5 or 6 steps at the base of Monticello are fully struck and show clear separation with no breaks in the lines. In 2016, finding nickels with full steps in high-grade mint state can make a huge difference. Instead of being worth just a few dollars, these can be worth $20 to $100 or more, again depending on grade and demand. So what is the current market value for the 2016 P. Jefferson nickel? As of right now, circulated examples are only worth face value of 5 cents, but uncirculated coins in mint rolls or sets will usually sell between 10 cents and $1. High-grade certified examples in MS67 are selling in the $20 to $50 range, and the few known in MS68 have sold for several $100s. Rare dramatic mint errors can sell for $100 or more, especially if they are certified by PCGS or NGC. And if you are lucky enough to find a full steps example in gem condition, you could also be holding a coin worth considerably more than pocket change. To wrap it up, the 2016 P. Jefferson nickel is mostly a common coin, but the key to finding value is in the condition, the strike, and the presence of any errors or full steps. If you are hunting through your pocket change or searching bank rolls, make sure to keep an eye out for these details, because you never know when one of those nickels could be worth a lot more than 5 cents. We are going to talk about one of the most interesting modern coins in United States history, the 2017 P. Jefferson nickel, also known as the 5-cent nickel, that continues to capture the attention of collectors and investors across the country. This coin may look like an ordinary piece of change that passes from hand to hand at gas stations and grocery stores, but there is far more behind its history, its design, and most importantly, its current market value in the world of numismatics. The Jefferson nickel has been produced since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and it features the image of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse, and Monticello, his famous home, on the reverse. For decades, the Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American pocket change and a favorite among collectors, but the year 2017 holds a very special significance because it marked the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint, and to honor that milestone, the Mint added a small letter P to all nickels produced at the Philadelphia Mint that year. This was the very first time that a Philadelphia Mint mark appeared on a Jefferson nickel intended for general circulation. Why is this important? Because prior to 2017, the Philadelphia Mint did not use a P mint mark on nickels meant for everyday use. Collectors could only see the P on coins from proof sets and special strikes, but never on regular circulating nickels. So the 2017 P nickel represents a turning point. It is both a commemorative issue and a circulation coin rolled into one, and that makes it highly desirable among those who collect modern U.S. coinage. Now let us talk about the numbers. The U.S. Mint produced more than 764 million examples of the 2017 P. Jefferson nickel, so you might think it is too common to be valuable and in average circulated condition. This is mostly true. If you find one in your change, it is generally worth its face value of 5 cents. However, condition, rarity, and collector demand are everything in numismatics, and high-grade examples of the 2017 P nickel can bring surprising premiums in today's market. Collectors often look for coins graded by third-party services like PCGS or NGC in mint state condition, especially grades MS65, MS66, and MS67. These coins show nearly flawless surfaces, brilliant luster, and strong strikes. Examples in MS65 can often sell for around $5 to $10. Examples in MS66 can bring $20 to $50, and coins that reach MS67 or higher are far scarcer and can sell for over $100 depending on the demand and the eye appeal of the individual piece. In fact, certain registry-set collectors who compete to build the finest collections are willing to pay large premiums for the highest graded examples, making the 2017 P nickel far more valuable than its modest face value suggests. Errors and varieties also play a major role in the coin market, so if you happen to find a 2017 P nickel with die cracks, doubled dies, off-center strikes, or other minting anomalies, you could have a coin worth many times the normal amount. Some documented error nickels from 2017 have sold for $50, $100, or even several $100s when certified and auctioned. The beauty of collecting the 2017 P Jefferson nickel is that it bridges the gap between history and modern coinage. It is a coin that everyone could encounter in their pocket change, yet it holds a unique place in the long tradition of U.S. minting. The Philadelphia Mint mark gave this coin a sense of identity that it never had before, and even though millions were struck, collectors continue to set them aside in the hopes of finding a pristine gem or a rare variety that will grow in value over time. So what is the current market value of the 2017 P Jefferson nickel? In summary, average circulated examples are worth only face value. Mint state coins and grades MS65 can be worth a few dollars. Higher grades MS66 and MS67 can be worth dozens or even hundreds of dollars, and rare error coins can bring significant premiums at auction. If you are a new collector, it is well worth it to keep your eyes open, check your change, and even consider searching bank rolls of nickels, because the opportunity to find a high-grade or error coin is very real. The 2017 P nickel is not just another piece of pocket change, it is a celebration of the history of the United States Mint. It is a coin that introduced something new for collectors, and it continues to be an affordable and exciting entry point into the hobby. We are talking about the 2020 D Jefferson 5-cent nickel coin. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint and carries the D Mint mark, and it is one of the modern issues in the long-running Jefferson nickel series, which first began all the way back in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. The obverse or front of the coin shows a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and one of the founding fathers. His image was originally designed by Felix Schlag and has been updated over the years with the modern design showing more detail and a bold inscription of "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date of issue, in this case 2020, with the small letter D Mint mark for Denver. The reverse of the coin continues to show Jefferson's famous home Monticello, a neoclassical building located in Virginia, and the word Monticello appears below the image along with the denomination 5 cents and the phrase United States of America. The 2020 D nickel is a circulation strike coin, meaning it was made for everyday use in commerce, and millions upon millions were produced. In fact, the Denver Mint alone struck over 700 million nickels in 2020, which makes this a very common coin in pocket change. However, coin collectors know that not all coins are equal, because the value depends on condition, rarity, special varieties, and errors. So while most 2020 D nickels will only be worth face value, which is 5 cents, some can be worth a lot more depending on how they were preserved and whether they display unique minting issues. When it comes to history, it is important to note that the Jefferson nickel series has been a stable part of American coinage for more than 8 decades. The design has changed slightly, but Jefferson's portrait and Monticello have remained iconic symbols on the coin, and modern issues like the 2020 D continue that legacy while also offering opportunities for collectors to find high-quality pieces in uncirculated condition. Let us now talk about value and grading in the coin collecting world. Condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from poor all the way up to perfect mint state 70 by professional grading services. If you have a 2020 D Jefferson nickel that has been heavily circulated with scratches, dings, and where it will still just be worth face value of 5 cents, but if you find one in crisp uncirculated condition with sharp detail and no marks, it may be worth anywhere from 25 cents to a few dollars depending on the demand and the grade. For example, coins graded mint state 65 or higher by PCGS or NGC can sometimes sell for a few dollars each, since collectors want bright, lustrous examples with clean surfaces. In higher grades, some pieces even graded mint state 67 have sold for $20 to $30 at auction, because they are among the top quality known for the year and mint mark. Another important factor is error coins. Sometimes mistakes happen at the mint, and these error nickels can be worth significant money. Examples include off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, double dies where letters or numbers look doubled, clipped planchets where a portion of the coin is cut off, and other striking errors. If you happen to find a 2020 D Jefferson nickel with an obvious error, it could be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s depending on the type and severity of the mistake. Error coins are always in demand because they are rare and each one is unique. Now let us also talk about the collector market. As of now, the general market value for a regular 2020D nickel in circulated condition is just 5 cents, the same as its face value in uncirculated rolls or bags. They may carry a small premium, especially if you buy them directly from the US Mint or from dealers who have saved original rolls. Sometimes a bank-wrapped roll of 2020D nickels might sell for around $5 to $10 simply because collectors like to keep unsearched rolls untouched. But for single coins, the big value only comes in extremely high grades or with errors. Looking at recent auction results, coins graded mint state 67 with full steps designation, which means the steps on Monticello are fully struck and visible without breaks, can sell anywhere from $30 to $100 depending on the eye appeal. The population reports from grading companies show that only a small fraction of 2020D nickels achieve that high full steps grade, making them more valuable to serious collectors. To sum up, the 2020D Jefferson nickel is a modern coin with a huge mintage, and most examples are only worth face value of 5 cents. But if you take the time to look closely at your coins, you might find a gem that is worth much more. Uncirculated examples can bring a small premium. High-grade coins can sell for $20 to $100, and rare mint errors can reach into the hundreds of dollars. So always check your pocket change, because you never know when you might discover a valuable coin hiding in your loose change jar. So there you have it, the history of the Jefferson nickel series, the details about the 2020D issue and the current market values. Whether you are a casual collector or just curious about the coins you spend every day, it is always worth taking a closer look at your nickels and learning their story. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more coin collecting videos.